We're just over a week out from open practice at Kinnick Stadium, and the Daily Iowan TV sports team went out with the coaches again today.
Let's toss it over to the Daily Iowan TV sports studio for the latest on spring football. Danny, Jalen.
Thanks, Megan. Welcome to the Daily Iowan TV sports studio alongside Jalen Socek. I'm Danny Payne.
A whole lot on tap tonight with baseball and lacrosse coming up, but first we start tonight's show on the gridiron with assistant coach Brian Ferentz.
Last season, Iowa's offensive line was one of the most consistent spots on the team, having the same 5 starters the whole season.
But due to the loss of right tackle Brett Van Sloten and left guard Connor Buffelli to graduation, offensive line coach Ferentz told media today he doesn't expect to see that same consistency in the next season.
I'm not naive enough to sit up here either and tell you that the same 5 guys are going to start every football game for us next year. I think we were very fortunate last year, but I don't think that's a realistic expectation. So right now, if you were to see us practice, what you'll see is guys playing different positions.
Iowa returns 3 of those starting linemen, 2 juniors, center Austin Blythe and right guard Jordan Walsh, and the other being left tackle Brandon Scherf.
Sheriff passed up an early exit for the NFL to return for his final season. Ferentz had a lot to say about his anchor linemen.
You try not to brag on players too much, and I know I sat up here last year and I answered a lot of questions about Brandon Scherf this and Brandon Scherf that, and I tried to temper the enthusiasm because at that time he really hadn't done very much. I feel very differently about him a year later. There's not a better offensive lineman in college football. That's my opinion. And I think you guys know after 2 years, and some of you knew me well before then, I don't say things like that lightly.
Now, Jalen, Hawkeye sports like football get everything planned and organized for them through the university. But for club sports, they have to do it all on their own.
That's right, Danny. For our weekly What It Takes segment, sports reporter Taylor Axelson took a look into the men's club lacrosse team to see just what it takes to plan and organize your own sports as a team captain.
It's a lot of fun, really. I mean, a bunch of guys. It's a whole different crew than what you're used to maybe on campus. It's fun to take something a little more serious in school. Kind of get out, run around, be competitive.
Holding a captain role, not having the C on your chest, but indirectly having that leadership role is really something special to me, especially with these guys.
These captains not only have to worry about being a leader to their team, but also about when a storm comes through and they're unable to practice on their fields because they look like this. And that's only the beginning.
Especially in the state of Iowa, the weather's so crazy here, but we try to handle it as calmly as possible. I mean, it can get kind of hectic at times, but it comes basically down to checking the weather on a day-to-day basis, making sure that if it is going to rain, we're getting in touch with other facilities to make sure that we are able to play there. If not, we kind of have to scramble around to find a place to play. But even that has costs too. If we have to use another facility, such as we did this past Sunday when we played, we have to get an insurance policy. We also have to pay the school to have them let us use the field. So it's pretty hectic and it's kind of stressful, but at the end of the day, we're just happy to play.
It's a lot of work scheduling that stuff, coordinating with other teams, other presidents, other captains. And a lot of things can go wrong, a lot of moving pieces.
So playing a game, first it starts off way early in the fall, right when school starts. Season's not until the spring, February is normally when it starts. You have to start talking to teams, okay, we owe you a home game, you owe us a home game. We can come to you these weekends because you have to get your conference games in, but then again, you also have to meet a minimum requirement of games to make nationals.
The minimum requirement is 12 games for nationals. This season, the lacrosse team has 7 away games and 7 home games scheduled. And how much for just one home game, you ask? It'll cost them about $2,000. This pays for the facility, insurance, the out-of-state referee travel, and any other fines. For an away game, toss in transportation, lodging, and food.
That's a pretty penny though for paying for 35 guys, and all their smelly equipment, but it's a lot of fun. I think it's the love of the game, and like I said, Midwest weather, Midwest lacrosse. It hasn't grown as much as in the East. Syracuse, Virginia. We're hoping in the next few years, maybe Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, they'll all go D1. And right now we are stuck with the MCLA D1 club. Hopefully in the future we'll lead to bigger and better things.
This is Taylor Axelson, Daily Iowan TV Sports.
Another sport trying to move on to bigger and better things this season has been the Iowa baseball team.
Last night, the Hawks rallied from a 4-run deficit against Western Illinois at home to tie the game in the bottom of the 9th inning, only to give up 2 runs in the top of the 10th to fall to Leathernecks 8-6.
In hopes to redeem themselves, the Hawks return to Big Ten play Friday at home as they host Minnesota in a 3-game series.
Unfortunately, that is all we have time for in tonight's show.
But be sure to tune in tomorrow as we take you behind the scenes of Iowa football recruiting. Guys, back to you.